Okay, hello, beauties. So, I'm just gonna be telling a story about my experience while being put in a mental hospital. So, when I was around 13, my parents went through my room and found my venting notebook. Yeah, I wrote a lot of stuff in there because, I wasn't living my best life and I wanted to die. And I'm like, oh, okay, but my parents went through that notebook and they took it to my principal and to my counselor and brought me to the office. I didn't know what was going on at the time, honestly. I was 13 and in 7th grade. I didn't know what was happening. I just knew I wasn't comfortable with it. But then they took me out of school. Well, not out of school. My mom made it so I could go out of school early, and then she drove me to a mental hospital. At that mental hospital, I found out I was okay for going to their acute care program. And so I got dropped off, and I was there. At first, they just walked me in and what would be happening and stuff like that, and then left me in one of the waiting rooms. In that waiting room, I started to break down because I was being left alone, and a really nice girl approached me saying that, how old I was. I was 13 at this time. They put me in the older kids with the older kids, the 15 to 17-year-olds, and the excuse they gave me was because I looked more mature. And in my opinion, it's even worse. Basically, she's just like, oh, are you here for anger issues? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I wish. Maybe I wouldn't have to go here anymore then. But then I tell her and she's like, oh, well, you're quite young. And I'm like, yeah. So that happened. But then a while later, they didn't have any clocks in this mental hospital at all. Everything was rounded, bolted to walls. It smelled really bad. That's just the gist of it. But a while later, I don't know how long it was. All I remember is that I counted 4,556 in my head before anyone came and approached me. And even then, it was one of the workers telling me that I had to get out of the room I was in. And then I asked another girl which room I was supposed to be staying in. They said they didn't have a room for me yet. Why was this? Because they decided to separate me from everyone else because I had said I was bisexual. So that happened. And then eventually, a long while later, they put me in the isolation room. I wasn't on suicide watch or anything. They put me in there because they didn't feel like other people were safe because I was bisexual. Yeah, that was sad. But then later on, the next day, there's this one girl. She was in psychosis. And she was really nice when she was in a bad mood. But let's just say she got mad at one of the other people, and that girl had to go to the ER because of glass getting into her eye. And that was scary for me because Sophia, well, might as well call her Sophia, was 17, and the other girl was only 15. And then this one dude, I like to call anger issues. He had a big muscular build. He was tall. Honestly, in my opinion, he was kind of hot, but not after what he did, no. He got mad at this other kid. Let's call him Caleb. He got mad at Caleb and he punched the wall beside him and grabbed Caleb by the neck. A lot of people started having panic attacks because of that. And I'm sitting there, the youngest kid in the room, and I'm trying my best not to cry and not to shake because I had an abusive father, and that just reminded me of him. But then the girl that I told you at the beginning started to dislike me greatly, and I didn't know why. So that didn't help either. But then I was really happy because there's this one girl who also had an abusive family. She was super nice to me, and she treated me like I was an actual human being instead of someone that was just there to exist. And basically, she told me that I was worth it and that I have every reason to be there, to be alive, to exist, and to be me. Yeah. So, what I'm trying to say is if you feel like you weren't worth it, you don't have a reason to live, that you should just die and stuff like that, don't die. Somebody loves you, whether they're across the country, somewhere in the world. I mean, I love you. Well, of course, unless you're like a pedophile, murdered a whole bunch of people for no reason, or tried to take advantage of someone sexually. Unless you've done any of that for no good reason, then maybe I don't love you. But I'm a very accepting person. So please continue living. Because I think you're worth it.